Ladies and gentlemen, hear me today. Your life is not by accident. Your journey is not random. There is a purpose so divinely orchestrated that when God calls you, no earthly force, no circumstance, no voice of doubt can stop your destiny. Some of you have been waiting for a breakthrough. Some of you have felt the weight of setbacks, the sting of disappointment, and the shadow of doubt. Let me tell you this, the moment God calls you, everything shifts. The chains of limitation that once bound you are broken. Doors that were locked are now opening. Paths that were invisible are now illuminated. God's call is not a whisper of convenience. It is a declaration of destiny. And destiny, my friends, does not negotiate with fear. Destiny does not retreat before difficulty. When God calls, even the storms bow to his will. The giants you face, the mountains that rise before you, they are all stepping stones in the journey to your fulfillment. You may ask, how do I know I am called? You feel it in the fire of your spirit. You see it in the vision that won't leave your mind. You experience it in the pull of your heart toward a purpose greater than yourself. It is in these moments that you must stand firm, for hesitation will delay the miracles that are already on their way. Nothing can stop what God has ordained. The critics, the naysayers, the failures, they are temporary. They are part of the story, but they are not the final chapter. What God has for you, no one can take. What God has planned for your life, no setback can erase. What God calls you to do, nothing can stop you from fulfilling it. So rise up, bold and fearless, step forward, even when the road seems uncertain. Speak the word of faith in your own life. Take the actions aligned with the purpose that stirs within you. Your destiny is unstoppable, and your call is undeniable. Today, declare with me, I will not be deterred. I will not be delayed. I will not be denied. When God calls me, nothing can stop my destiny. When we speak of divine purpose, we are not speaking of a vague idea, a passing dream, or something that might happen if the conditions are right. Divine purpose is certain. It is unshakable, immovable, and irrevocable. It is not dependent on luck, not dependent on timing, and not dependent on the opinions of people around you. It is the very heartbeat of your existence, the reason your soul is awake while the world sleeps, and the reason you were placed on this earth at this particular time in history. Every life has a calling, and when God sets a purpose upon your life, no human, no circumstance, and no force of nature can derail it. Many of us live in uncertainty. We wake up each day questioning whether we are in the right place, whether our struggles are signs of failure, or whether our efforts are in vain. We look around and see others succeeding, and we wonder if perhaps God has forgotten us. But the truth, beloved, is that divine purpose is certain even when your circumstances are chaotic. Even when the storms rage, even when the doors remain closed, and even when the world tells you to stop, your purpose remains intact. You see, does not make mistakes. Your existence is not random. Every talent, every passion, every tear, every triumph is carefully woven into a story that only you can live. Your purpose is not subject to doubt. It is anchored in eternity. Divine purpose is certain because it is rooted in God's plan. It is not something you manufacture or create by your own power. You may try to force your life in one direction or chase after fleeting ambitions, but those are temporary pursuits. Your divine purpose, however, was placed within you before you ever drew your first breath. The calling on your life was spoken before you knew your own name. It is as certain as the sunrise, reliable as the tides, and as unstoppable as the wind. And when God calls you to that purpose, nothing can divert you. Nothing can push you off track. Even the challenges that seem insurmountable are only stepping stones that God uses to prepare you for the fullness of your destiny. Many times, people get frustrated because they cannot see the path clearly. They see setbacks, disappointments, and delays and believe that maybe their purpose has been revoked or that it is no longer attainable. But divine purpose is not measured by immediate results. It is measured by alignment with God's will, by faithfulness in the unseen, and by the persistence to keep moving even when the road ahead looks uncertain. Trial, every struggle, and every season of waiting is an essential part of shaping you for your destiny. The storm is not a signal of abandonment. It is a sign of preparation. God does not waste hardship. Every difficulty is an opportunity to strengthen your character, to deepen your faith, to equip you for what is coming. Divine purpose is certain because God has already equipped you with everything you need to fulfill it. You may feel inadequate, unworthy, or ill-prepared, but the truth is that God's purpose for your life comes with the provision, the wisdom, and the resources required to accomplish it. You were created with unique gifts, abilities, and insights that no one else possesses. There is a reason why your heart beats the way it does, why your mind thinks the way it does, and why your spirit longs for the things it longs for. Those longings are signposts pointing to your divine purpose. Even when you do not fully understand how it will happen, even when you cannot see the way forward, know this: God has already made a way. Your role is to trust, to believe, and to walk forward with confidence that nothing can stop what He has set in motion. There is a certainty in divine purpose that transcends human understanding. You may not know the exact timeline. You may not know the specific circumstances that will bring your dreams to fruition. You may not even know the full impact your life will have on the world. But the certainty lies in the fact that God's hand is upon your life. When God ordains something, it cannot be stopped. The very forces that attempt to hinder you will eventually serve to propel you forward. Every setback is temporary. Every delay is strategic. Every opposition is being used to strengthen you. And when the moment arrives, when God's timing aligns with your faithfulness, your purpose will unfold in a way that is undeniable, unstoppable, and unmistakable. It is not passive. Knowing that your divine purpose is certain does not mean that you sit back and wait for life to happen. It means that you move with intentionality, courage, faith. It means that you pursue excellence. You develop your gifts, and you prepare your heart, mind, and spirit for the calling that awaits you. Divine purpose requires action, but it also requires trust. You must trust that the journey, no matter how difficult, is leading to something greater than you can imagine. You must trust that every tear, every loss, every disappointment is part of a divine plan that is perfect and unstoppable. Divine purpose is certain because it is eternal, is not bound by human limitations, financial circumstances, societal expectations. It is not defined by what others think, nor is it constrained by failure or fear. Your purpose has been written into the fabric of eternity, and nothing can erase it. Even death cannot undo what God has called you to do. Every life touched, every lesson shared, every act of love and faith is part of the legacy of your purpose. And when you embrace it fully, when you step into it boldly and without hesitation, you will experience a joy of fulfillment, a peace that cannot be taken away. My purpose is certain. The calling on my life is unstoppable. The dreams within me are not accidental. Fire in my soul is not a mistake. I am here for a reason, and no person, no circumstance, no fear, and no obstacle can prevent me from fulfilling it. I will rise above the challenges. I will press forward in faith. I will walk boldly into the destiny that God has prepared for me. And I will live a life that reflects the certainty of His divine purpose. When God calls you, nothing can stop your destiny. When God has ordained your path, no detour, no delay, and no difficulty can prevent it from coming to pass. Your life is not random, your journey is not wasted, and your purpose is not uncertain. It is sure, it is unstoppable, and it is eternal. Stand firm in that truth, embrace it fully, and move forward with confidence, knowing that divine purpose is certain, and it belongs to you. When God calls you, circumstances do not define you. When God speaks your name and sets a purpose before you, the storms that rage around you, the mountains that rise before you, and the valleys that try to swallow you cannot stop you. So many people are waiting for the perfect conditions to move forward. They are waiting for obstacles to disappear, for the timing to be flawless, or for the world to finally make sense. Here is the truth that will set your soul on fire. When God calls you, circumstances are irrelevant. Your call is stronger than the chaos that surrounds you. Your purpose is more powerful than any problem that comes your way. Life has a way of testing the faith of those it has chosen. Will be seasons when nothing seems to work. Doors that should open remain closed. Opportunities that seemed within reach slip away. And the world, in its impatience, may whisper lies to your spirit, telling you that perhaps you were mistaken, that perhaps this calling is too big for you, that perhaps it was never meant for you at all. But your calling is not dependent on what the world says. Your calling is not measured by immediate results. Your calling is anchored in God's power, and when God calls, no circumstance can redirect your destiny. Consider the story of those who walked in faith long before you. They faced famine, imprisonment, betrayal, and uncertainty. Yet their call could not be stopped. Their purpose was more powerful than the opposition they faced. Even when the path seemed impossible, they pressed on because they knew the source of their call was higher than any obstacle. And in their perseverance, it became living proof that divine calling does not rely on favorable conditions. It relies on faith, trust, and obedience. When God calls you, the timing of your breakthrough is not determined by the speed of circumstances. You may face delays that feel unbearable. You may face failures that feel insurmountable. You may face people who doubt you, mock you, or attempt to discourage you. Your calling transcends all of this. It is like a river cutting through rock, not because of its force against the stone, because of its consistency, persistence, and determination to reach the destination that has been ordained for it. God's call is unstoppable, and when it is upon you, nothing, no one, no situation can hold it back. Many times, the enemy will use circumstances to try to intimidate you, to make you believe that your calling is impossible. You may be facing financial strain, health challenges, broken relationships, or other trials that seem overwhelming. But understand this, your calling is not limited by what you see. It is not hindered by what you feel. It is not determined by the failures of the past or the fears of the present. The call of God has a power that surpasses your circumstances, a power that transforms weakness into strength, scarcity into abundance, and defeat into victory. When your call overcomes circumstances, it requires faith that is willing to stand even when the world shakes. Requires a courage that rises above fear and a vision that refuses to be blurred by temporary setbacks. The call is not canceled because of what happens to you along the way. The call is not postponed because you feel unprepared. The call is activated by obedience and nurtured by trust. Every step you take in alignment with God's purpose strengthens your ability to rise above any obstacle. Even when the storms are violent, the winds of opposition cannot blow you off course because the call of God is a lighthouse that guides you through the darkest nights. Circumstances are not the measure of your destiny. They are not the gauge of your potential. They are not the final word on your life. They are temporary, fleeting, and limited. Your calling, however, is eternal, boundless, and unstoppable. When you understand that your call is bigger than your challenges, perspective changes. You stop focusing on what is going wrong and start focusing on who is calling you and why. You begin to recognize that every trial, every delay, and every setback is actually a stepping stone leading you to the fulfillment of your destiny. What appears to be a roadblock is often a divine redirection. What feels like a failure is actually preparation. What seems like rejection is sometimes protection. The power of a call that overcomes circumstances is that it refuses to be defined by fear. It refuses to be silenced by doubt. It refuses to be paralyzed by uncertainty. When God calls you, you move with a confidence that comes not from your own understanding, but from a faith that trusts in divine orchestration. You may not see the full picture. You move anyway. You may not have all the answers, but you step forward because the call within you is louder than the noise around you. Your purpose cannot be delayed by difficulty because it is sustained by a power that is greater than any challenge. Beloved, you must understand this truth with every fiber of your being. Your circumstances are not your destiny. What you face today does not dictate what is coming tomorrow. The chains you feel are temporary. The setbacks you endure are not permanent. Opposition you encounter is not stronger than the one who called you. When God calls you, you are unstoppable. You are equipped. You are prepared. You are destined to overcome. Your calling carries with it a supernatural power that surpasses every obstacle, outlasts every storm, and outshines every shadow. So rise up today with the unshakable knowledge that your calling cannot be stopped by what you see or feel. Stand firm in faith. Move forward in obedience. Press on with courage. Speak to your circumstances not with fear, but with the authority of purpose. Declare over your life that your calling is stronger than any challenge, greater than any obstacle, and unstoppable in the hands of God. Your call is a fire that no rain can extinguish, a river that cannot be blocked, and a destiny that cannot be denied. Your circumstances may shake you, but they cannot stop you. Your circumstances may challenge you, but they cannot define you. Your circumstances may try to hold you back, but they cannot cancel the call that has been placed upon your life. When God calls you, no force of man, no adversity, no setback has the power to prevent your purpose from being fulfilled. Step into your destiny with confidence. Walk in your calling with boldness. Let your life be a testament to the truth that a divine call overcomes every circumstance. How do you know when God is calling you? How do you recognize the voice of destiny over the noise of life? Many of us live as if our purpose is hidden, waiting for some grand revelation, some unmistakable sign that will tell us this is it, this is your calling. But the truth, beloved, is that God's call speaks to you in ways that are often subtle yet undeniable. There are signs all around you woven into the very fabric of your life. Signal your destiny is drawing near. You just have to learn to see, listen, and believe. The first sign of calling is a persistent pull in your spirit. It is that deep, unshakable desire that refuses to be ignored. It is not fleeting. It is not a whim. It is a longing in your soul that cannot be satisfied by ordinary pursuits. It is the fire in your heart that wakes you in the middle of the night, the vision that won't leave your mind, and the stirring that whispers, there is something more for you. That pull is God's way of telling you that He has placed within you a purpose that the world cannot provide, a mission that only you can fulfill. When your heart is drawn to something greater than yourself, that is not coincidence. That is calling. The second sign of calling is confirmation through your gifts and talents. God does not call you to a purpose without equipping you for it. The skills, abilities, and insights you possess are not random. They are fingerprints of your calling. The things that come naturally to you, the things that ignite your passion, and the things that others recognize in you are indicators that God is preparing you for a specific assignment. Pay attention to your abilities, not with pride, with recognition that they are tools given to fulfill a divine mission. When your gifts align with your passion and your passion stirs your spirit, that is a sign that God is calling you into your destiny. The third sign is open doors and divine opportunities. While your calling does not depend on circumstances, God often orchestrates moments that confirm the path before you. A door may open unexpectedly. A person may cross your path at just the right time, or an opportunity may present itself that seems too perfect to be coincidence. These moments are God's way of saying, keep moving. You are on the right path. I am confirming your calling. Do not ignore these signs. Recognize them as divine confirmations that your journey is unfolding according to God's plan. The fourth sign of calling is unshakable persistence in the face of opposition. When God calls you, it is not a journey without resistance. The enemy, the world, and even your own doubts will rise against you. But the very fact that you continue to feel the pull of purpose, even when the road is difficult, is a sign of your calling. True calling does not vanish because of obstacles. It grows stronger in adversity. If your heart refuses to give up, if your vision refuses to fade, and if your faith pushes you forward despite fear, that is evidence that God has placed a purpose in your life that cannot be ignored. The fifth sign is a sense of peace in alignment with your calling. When God calls you, even amidst uncertainty, there is a deep inner calm that surpasses understanding. You may not see the full path. You may not understand all the steps, but your spirit knows the truth. There is a peace that comes from walking in alignment with God's will, a confidence that what you are moving toward is not only possible, but inevitable. That peace is a divine sign. It is God's way of assuring you that you are on the right path and that He is leading you step by step toward the fulfillment of your destiny. The sixth sign is confirmation through other people. God often uses mentors, friends, family, or even strangers to speak words of encouragement, direction, and confirmation into your life. They may recognize something in you that you do not yet fully see in yourself. They may affirm your gifts, encourage your vision, open doors that you could not have opened alone. Pay attention to these confirmations. They are not accidents. They are divine signposts placed in your life to guide you toward your purpose. The seventh sign of calling is a relentless drive that transcends reward or recognition. True calling is not motivated by fame, wealth, or human approval. It is motivated by purpose, by passion, and by a desire to fulfill God's plan. When you are called, you are willing to labor, sacrifice, endure challenges without immediate reward because the vision within you is bigger than the temporary comforts of this world. If you feel compelled to pursue something greater than yourself, to make a difference, to impact lives, and to serve a higher purpose, that is a clear indication that God has placed a calling upon your life. The eighth sign, and perhaps the most profound, is divine timing. Often, God's call does not manifest all at once. It unfolds according to a perfect timing that may not match your own. You may feel ready, but the opportunity is not yet visible. You may feel impatient, but the preparation is still in progress. Learn to trust God's timing. Calling will manifest at the right moment, in the right way, and for the greatest impact. Patience is a sign of maturity. And the willingness to wait demonstrates faith in the certainty of your calling. Beloved, recognizing the signs of calling is not about waiting for a single dramatic moment. It is about discerning the pattern God is weaving in your life. It is about listening to your spirit, observing the alignment of your gifts and opportunities, feeling the persistence of purpose, and trusting the peace and confirmations God places along the way. Calling is not always loud, but it is unmistakable. It is not always immediate, but it is unwavering. It is not always easy. It is inevitable when you move in faith and obedience. When you recognize the signs of calling, your perspective changes. You no longer see obstacles as defeats. You no longer see delays as denials. You no longer see opposition as proof that you are on the wrong path. Instead, you see them as part of a divine process that strengthens, prepares, and confirms you. You begin to move with confidence, knowing that God is not silent. You begin to act with courage, knowing that your path is guided. You begin to live with purpose, knowing that every step, every decision, every effort is part of a calling that cannot be thwarted. So today, open your eyes, open your heart, and recognize the signs of your calling. Listen to the pull of your spirit. Observe the alignment of your gifts. Embrace the confirmations around you. Stand firm in the face of opposition. Trust the peace that surpasses understanding. Value the encouragement of others. Persevere without seeking reward. And above all, trust the perfect timing of God. For when you recognize the signs of calling, you will know that your destiny is unfolding. Your purpose is certain. Your life is moving in divine alignment with the Creator who called you before the foundation of the world. Faith is not passive. Faith is not merely believing in something that may or may not happen. Faith is not a quiet hope that sits idly by while life happens around you. Faith is action. Faith is movement. Faith is the courage to step into the unknown, to press forward when the world says you cannot, to act boldly even when the circumstances suggest otherwise. Faith is the bridge between the promise of God and the fulfillment of that promise in your life. And beloved, when faith is coupled with action, it becomes unstoppable. Many people claim to have faith, but their lives do not reflect it. They speak of belief. They pray, they hope, but they do not move. They are waiting for a sign, waiting for the perfect conditions, waiting for life to make sense before they act. Here is the truth: faith without action is incomplete. It is faith in potential, not faith in reality. God does not honor passive faith. He honors faith that gets up, that steps out, that acts in alignment with His promises. Faith is not a spectator sport. It is a participation in the unfolding of destiny. When you exercise faith in action, you step into the arena of the impossible. You take the first step before the path is fully visible. You make decisions not based on fear, but based on trust in God's plan. You speak words of life over situations that appear dead. You plant seeds of effort, love, and service even when the soil seems barren. Every act of faith, no matter how small, sets in motion a chain reaction the natural mind cannot comprehend. When God has called you to a purpose, every step you take in obedience, every risk you take in faith is a step toward fulfilling your destiny. Faith in action requires courage. It requires a willingness to move despite doubt, to continue despite obstacles, and to persist even when results are not immediate. Many people give up because they cannot see the fruit of their labor. They cannot feel the shift. They cannot perceive the change. Faith does not demand instant gratification. Faith demands perseverance. Faith requires patience. Faith asks you to continue walking in alignment with God's plan, even when the world shakes, even when doors remain closed, and even when the road seems long. Faith in action is also fueled by vision. To act in faith, you must see beyond the present moment. You must imagine the fulfillment of your purpose, even when the details are unclear. Vision gives faith its direction, giving your steps meaning and giving your perseverance a goal. When you combine vision with action, you are no longer moving aimlessly. You are moving toward a future that God has ordained. Future that is waiting for your courage to step into it. Without vision, action can become scattered. Without action, vision can become idle. Faith unites them, creating a force that moves mountains, opens doors, and turns dreams into reality. Faith in action is also about trust. Trusting God with the outcomes, trusting that He sees the whole picture, and trusting that He has already equipped you with everything you need. When you act in faith, you may not understand all the steps. You may not know how everything will come together. You may not have all the resources, all the answers, or all the support. Trust tells you that God is bigger than your problems, stronger than your obstacles, and wiser than your doubts. Trust allows you to act boldly, knowing that every effort you make is backed by divine power. One of the most powerful aspects of faith in action is that it brings revelation. When you step forward in faith, the next step often becomes visible only after you take the first. You cannot wait until the path is fully illuminated. You must walk by faith and let God reveal the path as you move. Every step in faith uncovers a piece of the puzzle, opens a door, provides the insight necessary to continue. Action fuels revelation. Faith without action leaves the mind in speculation, the spirit in hesitation, the life in delay. But action inspired by faith moves you from the realm of possibility into the reality of fulfillment. Faith in action also impacts those around you. It inspires, encourages, and ignites others to believe. When people see you stepping out boldly, trusting God enough and care life, and pursuing purpose relentlessly, they are reminded of the power of faith. Your actions can plant seeds of hope in the hearts of others, create momentum for change, and demonstrate the reality of God's promises in tangible ways. Faith is never private. It has a ripple effect that extends far beyond what you can see. Every act of faith becomes a testimony. Every testimony becomes a beacon of hope for someone else. Beloved, faith in action is a commitment to live in alignment with your calling. It is the decision to not be paralyzed by fear, not to be stopped by circumstances, and not to be deterred by opposition. It is about taking consistent, intentional steps toward the vision that God has placed in your heart. Each prayer becomes a declaration. Each step becomes a testimony. Each act becomes evidence that God's power is at work in your life. Faith in action transforms ordinary lives into extraordinary testimonies of God's glory, provision, and power. Finally, faith in action requires resilience. There will be setbacks. There will be failures. There will be moments when the world seems against you. But faith keeps moving forward. Faith rises after every fall. Faith keeps speaking life, even when circumstances scream defeat. Faith reminds you that your calling is greater than your setbacks. The hand of God is guiding every step. Faith in action does not quit because it knows that the journey is leading to a fulfillment that cannot be stopped, a destiny that cannot be denied, purpose that is unstoppable. Faith without action is incomplete, but faith that moves mountains, steps into the unknown, acts boldly in alignment with God's calling is unstoppable. Take the first step, speak the word, make the move. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Do not wait until fear disappears. Do not wait until the world says you are ready. God has called you. Your purpose is certain. Your destiny is unstoppable. When you act in faith, every obstacle will be transformed into an opportunity. Every challenge will become a stepping stone. Every moment of hesitation will be replaced with the power of obedience. Your faith in action is the bridge between what God has promised and what God will deliver. Step forward, move boldly, act courageously, trust God completely. Let your life be a living testimony that faith in action does not fail. It overcomes, it transforms, it conquers. and it brings to pass every promise that God has placed in your heart. Life will test you. Life will challenge you, will throw obstacles in your path that seem impossible to overcome. But here is the truth. Every challenge you face is temporary. Every difficulty, no matter how overwhelming, is a season, not a sentence. The storms that rage around you are not permanent. The setbacks that push against you are not eternal. The obstacles that seem insurmountable are only part of a process that God is using to prepare you for your destiny. Temporary challenges do not define your life. They refine it. Too many people give up because they see the obstacle and forget the purpose. They encounter difficulties and immediately assume failure. They face delays and interpret them as denials. They see storms and believe they're drowning. Temporary challenges are never the end of your story. They are opportunities to grow, to stretch, and to strengthen. They are lessons designed to teach you perseverance, patience, and faith. They are the proving ground for the greatness that is coming. When we talk about temporary challenges, we must understand that God does not waste difficulty. Every trial, every hardship, every roadblock has a divine purpose. It is shaping you, molding you, and preparing you for what is next. The obstacles are not random. They are part of a larger plan. They are not punishment. They are preparation. They are not to stop you. They are to stop you. They are to strengthen you. The moment you realize that your challenges are temporary, your perspective changes. You no longer fear the storm. You no longer despair at the setback. You no longer see opposition as the end. Instead, you see it as a test, a teacher, and a stepping stone toward your destiny. Temporary challenges teach resilience. They teach you to keep moving even when the path is difficult. They teach you to rise after every fall, to persevere when every muscle in your body wants to quit, and to keep faith alive when the world seems to be closing in. It is easy to be faithful when life is smooth, when doors open, and when every step feels secure. But faith becomes real bold and unshakable when you walk through the fire. Temporary challenges are the furnace that produces strength, courage, and determination. They refine your character, purify your heart, and prepare your spirit for the destiny that awaits. Another lesson of temporary challenges is perspective. Too often we view difficulty as permanent, as though every problem will last forever. But the truth is, seasons change, clouds move, storms pass, mountains erode. The challenge you face today may seem insurmountable, but tomorrow is another day. And with God, tomorrow brings new strength, new opportunities, new solutions. When you remember that your challenges are temporary, you refuse to be paralyzed by fear. You refuse to be defeated by circumstance. You refuse to give up because you know that what God has promised is still coming. Temporary challenges also teach dependence on God. When life is easy, it is tempting to rely solely on your own strength. But when challenges arise, when circumstances push you to your limits, you are forced to lean into God's power. You learn to pray with urgency, to trust with greater depth, and to move with divine guidance. Temporary difficulty becomes a doorway to a deeper relationship with God. It reminds you that you are not alone, that His strength is made perfect in weakness, and that His power can overcome anything that appears to stand in your way. One of the greatest lessons of temporary challenges is perseverance. The enemy wants you to quit. He wants you to believe that the setback is permanent, that the struggle is endless, and that failure is inevitable. But the call of God and the promise of your destiny are stronger than any temporary obstacle. Every challenge you endure builds your endurance. Every trial you overcome strengthens your resolve. Difficulty you face becomes evidence of your resilience. Temporary challenges do not stop the determined. They test them, refine them, prepare them for the victories that are coming. Faith becomes the key to navigating temporary challenges. You may not understand why the storm is raging. You may not know when the obstacle will end. You may not see the solution clearly, but faith assures you that there is a purpose, a plan, and a promise. Faith reminds you that God's timing is perfect, that your struggles are temporary, and that your victory is inevitable. You walk by faith through temporary challenges. You demonstrate trust in God's wisdom, reliance on His strength, and commitment to His calling. That faith becomes the vehicle through which miracles are revealed and destinies fulfilled. Temporary challenges are also teachers of patience. Patience is not passive waiting, it is active endurance, a willingness to continue pressing forward despite the difficulty. It is the understanding that the process matters as much as the outcome. It is the confidence that God is working even when you cannot see the evidence. Every temporary challenge is an opportunity to cultivate patience, to grow in endurance, and to strengthen your resolve to keep moving forward. The longer you walk in faith through challenges, the more prepared you are to handle the responsibilities, influence, and impact that come with your calling. Beloved, it is vital to remember that temporary challenges never define your destiny. They test you, yes, but they do not determine the outcome. They push you, yes, but they cannot stop the plan of God. They bring discomfort, yes, but they also bring growth, clarity, and preparation. When you face difficulty, mind yourself that the storm is temporary, the obstacle is temporary, the pain is temporary. What is eternal is God's calling, His promises, purpose that He has placed within you. So today, I want you to declare it boldly in your spirit. My challenges are temporary. My destiny is eternal. My obstacles are temporary, but my purpose is unstoppable. My setbacks are temporary, but my victory is certain. Let this truth resonate within you. Let it strengthen your heart. Let it fuel your perseverance. And let it remind you that no matter what you face today, no matter how dark the moment feels, no matter how impossible the situation seems, you are moving toward a future that God has already ordained. Temporary challenges are not there to stop you. They are there to prepare you, refine you, equip you for the fullness of your destiny. They are not permanent, and they cannot overpower the power of God working in your life. Step forward with courage, act with faith, and trust in the one who has called you. Every challenge you endure will become a testimony. Every struggle you face will become a stepping stone. And every moment of perseverance will bring you closer to the victory, purpose, destiny that cannot be stopped. Your destiny is unstoppable. Let me say it again so it sinks deep into your spirit. Your destiny is unstoppable. No matter what opposition rises, no matter what obstacles appear, no matter what storms rage against you, the purpose and plan that God has placed on your life cannot be thwarted. There is a force behind your destiny, divine orchestration that is greater than any challenge, stronger than any setback, and unshakable in its power. When God has called you to your destiny, it will be fulfilled. Nothing can stop it, nothing can delay it, and nothing can cancel it. Many people live in fear, doubting whether they can reach the fullness of their purpose. They see the trials, the setbacks, the critics, and they ask themselves, how will I ever get there? But the truth is, your destiny does not depend on the approval of people. Your destiny does not rely on perfect circumstances. Your destiny is not limited by what you have or what you lack. Your destiny is unstoppable because it is rooted in divine design. It is written in eternity, ordained before you were born, and protected by the power of God. No human, no system, and no circumstance has the power to stop it. Stoppable destiny requires faith. It requires belief in what cannot yet be seen. It requires trust in God's timing and confidence in His power. The reason so many fail to reach their full potential is not because the promise is false, but because they give up too soon. They surrender to fear. They yield to delay. They let doubt dictate their actions. But when you understand that your destiny is unstoppable, you realize that every challenge is temporary, every delay is strategic, and every obstacle is an opportunity to grow stronger. Your destiny will come to pass because God is faithful. His promises do not fail. His word does not return void. And the call on your life cannot be canceled. One of the hallmarks of an unstoppable destiny is perseverance. There will be moments when the path seems unclear. There will be moments when the road feels long and the journey exhausting. There will be times when the world seems to be against you. Destiny is realized not by those who wait for everything to be perfect, but by those who press forward despite imperfection. It is claimed not by those who sit idly, but by those who act boldly in faith. Every step you take, even when the path is uncertain, moves you closer to what God has promised. Destiny is fulfilled by those who refuse to quit, who refuse to compromise, who refuse to be diverted by temporary setbacks. An unstoppable destiny also requires courage. It requires the courage to step out of comfort, to face fears, and to embrace the unknown. Many people resist their calling because the path is uncomfortable. They fear rejection, failure, or criticism. Courage does not mean the absence of fear. It means moving forward in spite of fear. When God calls you, He equips you for every challenge. The courage to pursue your destiny comes from knowing that God has gone before you, that His power surrounds you, and that His promises are unfailing. When you act with courage, you align with the unstoppable force of your destiny. Another characteristic of an unstoppable destiny is alignment. Your destiny will only be fully realized when your actions, choices, and heart are aligned with God's plan. You cannot force it, manipulate it, or rush it. You must pursue it with integrity, obedience, and faith. Alignment ensures that every step you take brings you closer to fulfillment rather than leading you astray. When you are in alignment, doors that were once closed begin to open. Opportunities that seemed impossible become available. People and resources that you need appear at the right time. Alignment is the key to unlocking the unstoppable nature of your destiny. Unstoppable destiny is also marked by resilience. Life will challenge you. It will try to test your limits. It will attempt to break your spirit. But no matter what comes against you, your destiny cannot be stopped. Each setback is a setup for a greater comeback. Each failure is a lesson for a stronger return. Each opposition is fuel for greater perseverance. When you are resilient, when you refuse to be defeated by circumstances, you become unstoppable. The world may shake around you, storms may rage, your destiny marches forward. It cannot be hindered because it is protected by God's hand. Beloved, one of the most powerful truths about unstoppable destiny is that it cannot be delayed indefinitely. There may be moments when it seems like nothing is happening. There may be seasons of waiting that test your patience. But the timing of your destiny is in God's hands. He will bring the fulfillment of your purpose at the exact moment it is meant to occur. Delays are not denials. Seasons of waiting are preparation periods. Every moment before the manifestation of your destiny is shaping you, strengthening you, and equipping you for the responsibility and impact of what is coming. God's timing arrives. Nothing and no one can prevent your destiny from being realized. Your unstoppable destiny also has a ripple effect. It is not only about your life. It is about the lives you touch, the legacy you leave, and the impact you make in the world. You step fully into your purpose. Others are inspired, encouraged, and transformed by your journey. Your destiny is a force that cannot be contained because it carries influence far beyond your own understanding. You were created to make a difference, to impact generations, and to fulfill a purpose that cannot be hindered by circumstances. And finally, your unstoppable destiny is anchored in God's promise. The Bible says that He has plans for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. Those plans cannot fail, cannot be erased. They cannot be denied. No trial, no opposition, no human power can stand against what God has ordained. Your destiny is unstoppable because it is backed by the authority, wisdom, and power of the Creator of the universe. When you move in faith, act in obedience. Pursue your purpose with courage. You align yourself with the unstoppable force of God's plan for your life. So today, I want you to declare it boldly with your heart and your voice. My destiny is unstoppable. No obstacle can stop me. No challenge can deter me. No setback can define me. I will walk in the fullness of God's plan for my life, and I will see every promise fulfilled. I will rise above every storm, overcome every opposition, and step boldly into the destiny that God has prepared for me. Let this declaration strengthen your spirit. Let it fuel your courage. Let it remind you that your destiny cannot be shaken, delayed, or canceled. Beloved, remember this: nothing can stop what God has called you to do. Your destiny is unstoppable because it is anchored in divine purpose, fueled by faith, strengthened by perseverance, and protected by God's power. Step forward boldly, walk in confidence, act in faith, rise with courage. Your life be a testament to the truth that unstoppable destiny cannot be thwarted, denied, or defeated. Your purpose is certain. Your path is divine. Your destiny is unstoppable. Today is the day to declare boldness over your life. Not timidness, not hesitation, not fear, but boldness. Boldness that rises in the face of doubt. Boldness that stands unshaken in the midst of adversity. Boldness that refuses to be silenced by criticism, opposition, uncertainty. Boldness is a spiritual posture, a declaration of faith, and an act of courage. It is the choice to step forward even when the world says you cannot, to speak truth even when everyone else is silent, to act decisively even when fear threatens to hold you back. Boldness begins in the heart. It is not something that comes from circumstance, status, or resources. Boldness comes from knowing who you are in God and understanding the authority, purpose, and destiny that has been placed upon your life. When God calls you to fulfill a purpose, boldness becomes a necessity, not an option. It is the spirit that pushes you forward when the world resists, the courage that sustains you when the road is long, and the confidence that strengthens you when the path seems unclear. Boldness is not reckless, it is resolute. It is not arrogance, it is assurance. It is rooted in faith and empowered by the certainty of God's promises. A declaration of boldness requires a refusal to be controlled by fear. Fear is the enemy of progress. Fear whispers lies that discourage, intimidate, and paralyze. Fear tells you that you are not enough, that your voice does not matter, and that your purpose is unattainable. But boldness refuses to listen. Boldness stands firm in the truth of God's word. Boldness moves forward with the confidence that God has equipped you for every challenge, that He has prepared the way, and that nothing can stop the plan He has for your life. Boldness says, I will act, I will speak, I will move, and I will fulfill the destiny God has placed within me. Boldness is also expressed through action. You cannot declare boldness in words alone. Boldness is lived. It is demonstrated in the decisions you make, the steps you take, and the courage you exhibit in the face of opposition. Boldness is showing up when everyone else is hiding. Boldness is stepping into the unknown when the comfort of familiarity tempts you to stay. Boldness is taking risks for the sake of purpose, trusting that God's power will guide every step. Every bold act is a declaration that your faith is greater than your fear, that your vision is stronger than your obstacles, and that your destiny is unstoppable. Boldness requires clarity of purpose. To declare boldness over your life, you must know what you are declaring. Boldness is aligned with vision, passion, calling. You cannot boldly pursue what you do not understand. You cannot boldly overcome what you do not recognize. Boldness is purposeful. It is strategic. It is intentional. When you are clear about your mission, your calling, and your purpose, boldness becomes natural. You no longer shrink in the presence of challenge, you rise. You no longer hesitate when opportunity appears, you move. You no longer doubt when the world says no, you act because you know the one who has called you has already said yes. Boldness also thrives in the face of opposition. The world will resist you. Critics will speak. Circumstances will challenge you. People may doubt your ability, question your path, or attempt to distract you from your purpose. But boldness does not shrink. Boldness rises above the noise. It does not retaliate in anger, but moves forward with focus, determination, and faith. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to exercise boldness. Every opposition you encounter is a chance to declare that your destiny cannot be deterred. Boldness is the declaration that no force of man, no setback, no storm, and no voice of doubt can prevent you from walking in your purpose. Boldness is also cultivated through faith. Faith fuels boldness because it reminds you that you do not act alone. When you understand that God has gone before you, His power is greater than any obstacle, and that His promises are unshakable, boldness becomes a natural response. You no longer wait for perfect conditions. You no longer delay action until fear dissipates. You move because faith has equipped you. Faith strengthens boldness, fortifies courage, and enables decisive action even in the face of uncertainty. To declare boldness over your life is to proclaim victory over hesitation. It is to speak life over doubt. It is to rise in courage when others cower. It is to act decisively, knowing that God has already equipped you for the task at hand. Boldness is a declaration that your voice matters, your actions matter, and your life matters. It is the choice to step forward when many would step back, to speak truth when many would remain silent, and to embrace purpose when many settle for comfort. Boldness is not temporary. It is not situational. Boldness becomes a lifestyle. It is a consistent posture of courage, confidence, and faith. It transforms the way you approach challenges, the way you pursue opportunities, and the way you engage with the world. Boldness impacts those around you. It inspires others to rise. It challenges mediocrity. It creates momentum. When you declare boldness over your life, you are not only stepping into your own destiny, you are lighting the way for others to step into theirs. Finally, a declaration of boldness is a spiritual command. It is a statement to the universe, to the enemy, and to yourself that you will not be deterred. It is a spoken commitment that your destiny will be fulfilled, that your purpose will be realized, and that your life will reflect the power, provision, plan of God. Boldness declares, I will not shrink, I will not hide, I will not hesitate, I will rise, I will act, I will move, I will fulfill the calling that God has placed upon my life. So today, I want you to make that declaration. Speak it with conviction. Speak it with faith. Speak it with courage. Say it to yourself, to the world, and to the enemy of your soul. I am bold. I am fearless. I am unstoppable. I will act in faith. We'll walk in purpose. I will fulfill my destiny. Nothing can stop what God has called me to do. Let this declaration ignite your spirit, embolden your steps, and transform your life. Remember, boldness is not reckless. Boldness is not arrogance. Boldness is the confident response of a heart aligned with God, spirit filled with faith, and a life committed to purpose. Boldness is the power to move forward when others hesitate, courage to speak truth when others remain silent, and the determination to fulfill your destiny when the world says it is impossible. Boldness is unstoppable, and today is the day to claim it, declare it, live it, and walk in it. Your boldness will move mountains, open doors, inspire others, fulfill the destiny that nothing can stop. You were created for boldness. You were called for boldness. You were born to live boldly, act boldly, speak boldly. Let boldness be your declaration, your lifestyle, and your testimony. Step forward in courage, rise with confidence, speak with authority. The world see that you are unstoppable because you have declared boldness over your life.